Hey guys, let's talk about some truths about entrepreneurship. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. Still kind of wild to me as I have been an official businesswoman for the last 7 years, right? So I wanted to talk about some things that I've learned over the last couple of years with being in business. So the first one I want to talk about is just the overall tax system. Now I know every country have their own tax system. Personally, I think Jamaica's tax system is a little bit complicated. Maybe I don't know much about it, but there's so much that comes with the tax system, from paying over your staff taxes, paying over your half of your taxes for your staff, also paying over the business taxes, hiring accountants, education tax, NIS, all of those taxes. And that's also separate and apart from the taxes that you have to pay as a business owner. So if you're not getting a salary, you have to pay some taxes on profit and all of those things. You might spend a lot of your time gather everything. Like you have to make sure you save all the invoices to present to your accountant in order for them to do the taxes for the financial year. And there's just so many layers to this tax system, and so because I don't really know everything about it, so it's important that we hire an accountant to help us in that regard. In order to start a business, you have to come up with some amount of money. It is whether you're going to take a loan or you're going to start it with all of the savings. So for us, we came up with a good chunk of money from our savings. We started our business the same year that we started our debt-free journey. So it was very important for us to start this business from scratch without any debt attached to it. My husband has another business that existed long before me, and he started off with debt, and we saw the difference with having start our business from scratch without debt as opposed to another business that was started with debt. So we can see the difference as to how the direction in which debt brings you and the direction that no debt brings you. So startup capital is so important, and start with what you have and try not to take a loan for it. Just try not to take a loan for it if possible, because in the future you reap a better reward when you don't have to be paying back loans for your business. Number 3 would be build as you go. So when we started our business, we had an intention that we created in our mind what this business is going to be. And so we learned very early on, when it comes down to building a business, that it's not a wise thing to like completely stock out every single thing in the business, but instead grow over time. It's like we didn't stock out all the equipment that we needed at the time when we just started. What we did was build gradually, because what if you like completely stock out that business with everything and it literally doesn't work? Or you have to pivot and change. Oh, I have to change this business idea from this to this over time, and then you're stuck with these machines. Building as you go is always a good idea, whether it is that you're going to pivot and add something different. But the thing about it is that you've never done it before. Like, you've literally not sold anything, so how can you really know if it's going to work? So I feel like it was important for us to build as we go. So when the more money came in over time, then we added this or we added that things. But instead of like completely taking all of our money and dumping it into something that we weren't sure of. So the route that we decided to take is to build as we go. Number 4 would be let people go. Now, I understand that this is a very difficult thing to do. I remember the first time I had to let someone go in terms of like hiring and firing somebody. I had literal anxiety and diarrhea. Like, I was shook to my core. Now I'm literally a professional. Because if they don't align with my rules or they don't align with the direction of the business, I'm not gonna keep you. And if there's disrespect, all of those things, that I'm not gonna keep you there. So you have to get the guts to like realize and recognize and analyze that, okay, so I need to make a change, I need to let this person go, and no hard feelings come of it. And sometimes you realize that you're not even sometimes, most times you'll realize that your business is better for it, because you might have somebody in there, or most of them in there might be holding down the business, whether it is that you're offering poor customer service or whatever it is. Get into that habit of like letting people go. You have to do that not only in business but in your personal life as well. Just let people go, because they can either propel you forward or they can hold you back. Number 5 is not being rewarded in the beginning. So it took approximately, I want to say 4 years. It took approximately 5 years for me to be able to get a salary from our business. And so the challenge of not being rewarded from the beginning, it can feel like you're working and it just didn't make any sense. Why did I start this? Why did I start this? Like, you can't be bothered, and you wake up every day, you grind, you wake up, you get there from morning to evening, and it feels like everybody else gets paid. Like, I pay my staff and I'm not able to pay myself, and so it can become very daunting. So you have to prepare yourself that you have to. They normally say that it takes 5 years for a business to start making a profit and all of those things, and I've grinded for 5 years trying to get this business to a place where I can also get a salary, and I'm able to say that I've started to get a salary, but it took me 5 years in order for me to get a salary. So I would hire staff and they would get paid, and when I started, I literally started with minimum wage, just matching the same pay that my employees used to get at that time, because I understood that sacrifice, but also it can be very challenging and daunting when it is that you put your blood, sweat and tears into something and it doesn't seem to be working in that moment or that period, and it literally took 5 years. Number 6, managing people. I feel like this is my ultimate test from God, is managing people. And one of the major struggles that I've experienced over the years of being an entrepreneur is that, one, you'll do interviews with people and they're one way in the interview, and as soon as they come into the business, it's like a completely different person. And it can be very negative and it can also be positive. Now, I'm referring to the negative side of it, like when you go into an interview and they tell you, oh, I'm so bubbly and I'm so happy and like I'm pleasant, and then when you come to work and they're good for the first maybe week or so, and like they completely transform into this completely different person. I'm like, what is this? Like, I cannot believe this is the same person that was in the interview that I hired. And the thing about it is, as your business grow, you will have no choice but to hire people, and so it can be very difficult in terms of balancing different personalities. When it's not, or they set up shop in your business and doing their own thing, or they get together with each other, like getting a relationship, and that comes with a whole different problem. Or they just have like poor customer service, and no matter what you tell them to do, you give them a specific instruction, they can't carry it out, or they choose not to, they're disrespectful. So I feel like that is my ultimate test when it comes on to being an entrepreneur, is managing people. I don't really enjoy it as much, and that's because I feel like it is stressful. It is a stressful thing, and I'm not trying to aid from stress at all. But we've been blessed in our businesses with really good people, and we're super grateful for that. But then there are times when that was not the case, and then also from managing people, depending on the business that you're in, you'll suffer from high staff turnover, because I've realized that some of these people are like Western Union babies, and you talk to them, you ask them what it is that they've been doing for the last 2 years. They haven't worked based on their resume, or you realize that they're being taken care of. And so when you're being taken care of, it's as if like you get a job, it's not really that important to you because I'm getting taken care of anyway. So it's not really like, they don't treat it as like a big deal, and it's very important. And so you find that sometimes in managing people, the staff turnover is very high, and I know it can be stressful, but there are so many good people out there who will really ride for you, and that's kind of what I'm holding on to. Solid people out there, and I hope that God will literally send them my way. And when you find those good ones, you hold on to them, you nurture them, and you take care of them, and you do your best to make them feel comfortable and welcome and appreciated and all of those things. And number 7 would be, the customer is always right. But hear me out, right? As a business owner, you have to be very flexible, right? You might start with one thing and you think that this is the thing that is going to grow your business. But also it is important to listen to your customers. What are their wants? What are their needs? Ask them what it is that you'd like to see. If you open a hairdressing salon and you also add the service of nails, and you realize that your hair service is not doing so well, but the nail business is doing well, you might want to pivot into fully going nails. So doing nails. So instead of having one nail station, you add another station. If you realize that this part of it is not doing well, the hair business is not doing well, and you realize this is where really and truly this is what the people want, so listen to them. You have to be able to pivot, because when we started one way, but then realize, oh, this is what the customers really want, so let's pivot and change how we do things, or add something that they might request. So don't be afraid to be seen trying. Don't be afraid to pivot and change and grow and do something different. So you might come into the business with one thing on your mind, this is what you think can work, but after listening to your customers, you realize that, oh, so nail business not working, maybe I should get into food because everybody always wants food. Or like maybe nail business not working, maybe it is that I need to get into hair, or whatever it is. But you have to be able to listen to your customers, because your customers is telling you what they want, and you might just listen to them and like your whole world change, the whole plan change. You might have to change or rip out everything in the place that you put in, all of these furnitures, all of these things. We kind of go back to what I was talking about before. What if it doesn't work? You know what I mean? So building as you go is such an important thing, because what if you have to completely pivot based on the needs or the requests of your customers? And so yeah, listen to your customers. They're not always right, but if you listen to them, like there are some things that they're basically very right about, and so it's important to listen to them. There are a lot of rewards that come from being an entrepreneur, and you just have to persevere, and you have to push through the tedious moments, the stressful moments, the parts that you feel like, okay, so this is not working. And then if you also realize that this is not working and you've tried everything that you could possibly try, then don't be afraid to close the door and start again. There's nothing wrong with failing at something and then starting something new. I know that is so scary to like start anew and start something fresh from beginning, but sometimes like there's such a beauty on the other side of you starting over from scratch, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're not a failure if you have to start from scratch. And if you're already winning in that area, see how best you can improve those areas, and yeah, continue to push through and win. So I hope you guys like this video. Thumbs up, and let me know what other videos you'd love to see. Alright guys, I'll talk to you in the next one.